It sounds really nice, and then you sit there and they're like, these stuff with
Good morning. Good morning. Well, it used to be when
Forgot. We will now do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We had a property tax meeting tonight at 6 o'clock. According to the Road County schedule, we're not able to have a appointment at that time. So it will be rescheduled to next Monday. That's 6 o'clock. Road County sets the time and schedule for these things. One person has to do that. Having said that, has everyone read the minutes of the meetings there's meetings for March 1st, March 11th. March 31st.
I guess on the March 31st meeting.
18th. Reduced Robert's rules as close as possible, so if you like speaking up to this commission feature, recognized as one.
Can you speak up just a little bit? It's very hard to hear you back here, honestly. Well, you can, whatever, to the microphone, but can you please speak up, please?
What was your comment on the March 31st meeting? Was that Mr. Dickinson made a motion, the city administrator removed. I guess at first he had stated that he was not declared to change it to remove the.
Okay, so which part of that, which page is that?
March 31st.
Yep, I was like,
First page.
the first page, okay. I can do the last page. You want to, you would change that to have it to say fire?
Well, it's fired and then said we need that.
Chuck asked me to change the.
We just put in a slash fire, not to remove.
Whatever you need to do.
We can use that terminology.
That should cover the thing.
On the March for the April 2nd meeting, where this ended. I guess where it says here, Mr. Fennell stated that when he took part in calling the meeting, he was not sure that the two members would be able to attend. I said after I took part in calling the meeting, I figured the other two members would not be able to attend.
Any other correction?
Mr. Mayor, on the March 1st meeting minutes, when the meeting was adjourned with items still on the agenda, and then a special meeting was called, technically that should start a new meeting with a new roll call. So it'll be on the last page, halfway down. They actually should have just rescinded their motions and the meeting could have reconvened, but it was a whole special meeting that was called.
Any further comments?
There were no motions made during that meeting? That second one?
Dickinson? So on that, when that second meeting was called, it says East Mass Dickinson absent was excused. You know, well, we approved and the second. So, since there was a second meeting, called at the last minute, and there wasn't a 24-hour notice, why is that question? You know what I mean?
He's stating the second meeting after the March 1st meeting, when it got preheated and we adjourned the meeting abruptly. Chief Powell was sitting here and had some other items to discuss. So we had a special meeting per se.
After the first meeting, we had a
March 31st.
No, we got another one, March.
I mean, March 1st. Yes, March 1st. That's the one that Jenny just mentioned. If we could convene another meeting with Chief Powell.
We did,
Right, but
So
John
that's
was
just-
asking,
to change the minutes so that it was, opened as a meeting.
I guess my question was, if it was asked, my absence being excused, it was a new meeting started after I had left. And I was supposed to have 24-hour notice to be at that next one. To have a full council. You know what I mean?
Technically incorrect.
Jenny was on the phone and I think Mike had called you to see if you wanted to join the meeting.
So is there any minute changes that actually need to be made? Or we were just addressing the 24-hour notice for the piece of that?
I would just like that to be its own special meeting.
You want it separated?
Oh, no, there's 7 minutes. Last half.
To separate that into a special meeting. Which it was held for police business only.
Well, everything that you have typed in here is all the details.
Schultz, do you have something?
I agree with Councilman Jones. I think it should be a new set of minutes for special.
We need a motion on that, so to change those.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes with the recommended changes.
I'll second it.
We have a motion on the floor to accept the minutes as corrected. Second by Mr. Johnson. Just have a voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Now, let's see what's next. Police. Third watch communications court and deputy Kirschner's resignation.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our office of the Surrey Police Department.
It's on, you just have to get close to it.
All right, as it's been, I'm Officer Olson with the Surrey Police Department. Chief Howard are available for this meeting, so I'll be standing in to discuss police business. There's only a couple things that I need to discuss, I'll get you through as I can. The first item of business we have is the which comes to a total of $8,900 in that base covered and we gave the budget. We need to have this approved today so that third watch communications with the board is able to have everything available and then we can install and get it. Second, Sergeant Richard, assigned to the Surrey Police Department, and he was his last day on duty with us. I'll be taking over Sergeant Richard's responsibilities, and we'll be going to field training officer training in West Fargo from June 20th to June 26th in order to become the official field training officer for our department. We do have 2 positions being posted, which I give you guys handouts of. 1 full-time officer position as well as 1 part-time officer position. We will be reviewing applications with the stakeholder. I believe on April 23rd, we were setting up interviews with the suitable with most of the candidates who will be on the hiring process. We want to have the positions fill quickly. Salary is going to depend on experience, probably between $24 to $26 per hour. On a side note, Surrey Police Department officers were present during the prom. We did test everyone. Good news is that nobody tested positive for alcohol, so it's a great thing. We didn't want to have a hitch. With that being said, I just have one last announcement to make regarding the large number of phones that actually fall outside of the fire department. We've received multiple complaints about people parking in front of the fire department garage doors, blocking the emergency vehicles from being able to exit. The only vehicles that should be parked in front of the fire department garage doors or our police garage doors are obviously fire department and police vehicles. For emergency vehicles, they need to be in case of relevant emergencies. So it would be greatly appreciated if you guys were mindful about where you're parking and not blocking any entrances, exits, hydrants, so on and so forth that emergency vehicles will need to get to. That's pretty much all I have for you guys today.
Thank you. We need to have a motion to approve the spending of the third watch communications money to get the product ordered for the new police pickup. Do I have a motion to approve spending?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve that $8,900 to outfit the new police vehicle.
This Councilman Johns has made a motion to pay for the third watch communications skills. Do I have a second?
I'll second
We have a second by Commissioner Fennell. Voice vote, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
Do we need to do anything with Congress?
I have a question on the posting. We are having a budget to hire another part-time person? And I realize the full-time one is replacing Connor, but what about another person? It is in the budget. For another person, correct.
Okay, third watch. Warren.
it.
Do you need to approve Connor's resignation? Does the council need to approve that?
I think so, just to make sure our P's and Q's are covered.
I'll make a motion to approve Connor Kircher's resignation and thank him for his time with the Surrey Police Department.
We have a motion by Councilman Jackson. President, thank you for your service. Is that a second, Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
We have a second. You can vote opposed. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion passed. Now, turning information on the quorum.
Before I talk about this, I'd like to vote from the council, but I can talk about it because the email that's in the packet is designated as attorney work product, and I don't want to talk about it without the council's approval.
I'll make a motion for that.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Councilman Fennell. Second,
I did.
by Ms. Gallagher. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes.
All right, so this follows much of what I said at the last meeting about what constitutes a quorum. Essentially, the Attorney General's office wrote an opinion letter in 1997, essentially saying that a quorum is a majority of the seats on the council and not a majority of current members. And that came about because of the city of Minnewacan, who I believe in 1996 or early 97 had 4 of their 5 members resign. The Attorney General's opinion essentially said that all of those resignations could not be effective until the replacements were installed, simply because the city of Minnewacan would be unable to conduct public business. The implication of that is simply we base quorum on the number of seats on the council, because otherwise Minnewacan would have been able to conduct business with the majority of the current members, which at the time was 1. And the Attorney General's opinion did not take one. So with 6 aldermen and the mayor, the quorum for the council would always be regardless of how many current members there are.
When you speak of the word quorum, 4 is a quorum. Are there 2 different sets of numbers for a quorum? 4 people to have a meeting is a quorum for voting. And 3 would be a quorum, are we 4 people for a meeting and 3 for voting? You could have a 3 to 2 vote, but you wouldn't necessarily need 4 votes for a motion to pass, is my question.
There would need to be 4 people present from the council in order to have a vote. And the mayor does count as one of those 4, because in our ordinances, the mayor is a member of the council.
But he does not vote, he only votes if there's a tie.
That's correct.
So if we vote and 3 of us vote one way and 1 person votes another, that's a legit vote.
Yes. Any other questions?
Would not be, so if you have 2 people vote, so out of 4, then you have, say, two no, 1 yes. You still can have, as long as your mayor's counted and the 3 councilmen and the mayor, that's your call.
That's correct.
So the mayor always votes on 3 to 1 deal?
No, I think the example I have is if there are 3 councilmen present and the mayor, then a 2 to 1 vote would be acceptable because there are 4 people present. You don't need 4 votes, you just need 4 councilors present.
Any further explanation, questions? Thank you, sir. We're going now into what everyone was asking about last week is the reasons for the speakers.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
That was part of the amendments. information is intended to be part of.
No, we're talking about the financial equipment bills.
That's why when we made up the agenda, the attorney information and the form was part of the explanation.
But the title is form. Not.
Maybe that was the intention.
In fact, that item isn't even on the agenda at all.
And that's what Mayor Sharp was saying, that his intention was to include the form title of the agenda piece because
That has nothing to do with the form. In my opinion.
It certainly does, because we're talking for meetings now, because the form was not available. And now we have it accurately defined. This is what a form is, so I think we can go ahead and process that. Mr. Schultz, what would be your advice?
I'd like a 5-minute recess so I can go over that.
Sounds good. Pause. Excuse me, pause for 5 minutes.
I'll get you one, yes.
7:21.
What? It's okay with me. I don't know something. If you know how to Didn't even know the stuff.
That's my stuff. This one is just with the taxi.
I got you tired.
I suppose you
He's pretty decent. When those first days you break, it's not to lie. All what I guess I was no,
The first thing you do is position. We did like that. We said, oh, because I made a mistake. The first thing you do is no, what did you do? You'll be impressed. Now he's something that wasn't Is that in the video or the report?
That's just the presence she got into the
And I looked at this. You're on the record. And I wanted this. I know. I always wanted to you're on the right beginning crack the beer right in the
that's what's causing all the symptom right now. I don't understand. I live this year, there, so every time you try to meet it, it's like he also doesn't have it's just good. I don't know if they're addressing it today, it's not on the agenda, so I'm not sure that they can. Those are like the fact that mom's guy shorts because he's working. Also, yeah, like, are you still leaving my house? Are you still leaving my house? Or are you still got
All right, so I researched a couple of things. I checked out the ordinances and Robert's Rules of Order. Robert's Rules of Order say that an agenda can be modified during a meeting with a motion, a second, and a 2/3 vote. The problem here is that the city doesn't have what we call a closed agenda, meaning there is no vote at the beginning of the meeting to set the agenda. It's just listed in the. I also spoke to Deputy Auditor Trana. It sounds like it's something that the mayor intended to bring up. It just didn't get put on the agenda, but she did ask if it should be expressed and written on the agenda, and it was declined. So the implication is it would be addressed under the quorum section. I also discussed any potential prior council actions. This issue obviously hasn't come up with this council. I would welcome a discussion from those on the council who have prior city government experience. The bottom line is I would definitely feel more comfortable and I'd be more sure of any lack of liability if the motion, second, and 2/3 process was followed from Robert's Rules of Order. That's my advice to ensure everything is okay. But the problem is there is no clear guidance because we don't vote to set the agenda. If the council decides to move forward without that process, I can't guarantee the lack of future liability.
So the question is if whether or not you want to discuss the finance situation. Is that what you're asking? Yes.
Yes, I want to.
I'll make a motion to put that on the agenda.
Under quorum,
What's that?
under quorum.
We have a second, we have a motion to add the Diane situation under forum. Mr. Fenwell, and we have a second by Mr. Dickinson. Roll call vote. Mr. Fenwell.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson. Councilman Yancey.
No.
Councilman Johns.
Yes.
Then 3-1 vote, motion carried. Okay, at this time, then I will bring up the items, that's all. Right?
Yeah, you'd be allowed to choose.
I guess the first incident that I had an issue with Diane was,
Should I ask one thing real quick?
Yeah.
Before you get into that, can I just, and you can read it if you want before I say it. If I can read this and you can just go on.
I'll read it first.
Start. You maybe add that those are in here, but like I said, that's appreciated. Whether she stays or goes, we're not. We're not. I'm gonna read it again.
I wanna know what it says. That's what we're gonna discuss. So do these people.
Okay, I've sat up here for roughly 25 years. I've attended literally hundreds of meetings up here. I have never experienced what I've experienced in the last 10 months. I thought it could bring a little stability and experience to the mess, especially knowing that Elaine was also the one on the board with me, as she served as my auditor for quite a few years when I wasn't here. So I really thought we could get things going in the right direction. I was wrong. One of my highest priorities, and still is, are the employees that work for us. The truth is the truth, and everyone makes mistakes along the way. Diane, I'm not gonna save you. I just don't think I have the votes to do it. And AJ, you're next. It's coming, without a doubt. So what I propose is the 5 of us sitting up here. I know for a fact there's recall coming for 3 of you. So what I propose to represent our town is that all 5 of us resign, effective immediately. We stay here until July. We can go 7 more people in. We leave Diane in her position reinstated, and let the new council and new mayor figure out where they can go. But if she stays or goes, we're gonna have the same mess that we have. It's always gonna be a fight unless we clean house. And that's the only way I can do it. You can't honestly say you're having a good time. We are a joke. I see it on Facebook every day. I mean, I have people calling and emailing me now. Steve, what are you doing there? I thought you were still there. No, I'm not. But I still get it. I have a business to run. We all have families and kids in school. We need to quit. And the only way this happens is if we're all. We can stay until July, and at that time, the new council takes over and we're done. That's the big deal. We're not gonna fix it.
We're not. There's no way. We're all in way too deep. There's too many feelings both ways. If you want to get back on, then go ahead and run until. But at least this way it's a clean slate. That's it. Anybody want to do it? Nope. Jenny?
I guess I got elected to clean up the mess that was already here and we're trying to work on that, so.
We're not gonna fix it. We're not.
It's worse.
It's worse.
It's way more way.
Set up a topic.
And it's not going to get fixed because there's too many people sitting at this table with their own personal agendas. There I said it. The open doors.
And we're all guilty. Everyone is. I mean, Jenny, I thought you were my friend. And we can't even talk to each other. It's a joke. It's wrong.
But, I mean, the attorney gave us the Attorney General's opinion on Minnewacan, and the 4 people who walked off of the council that day did the members of their community grave disservice. They can.
So we can stay and we can still handle business until July.
Trust me, I mean, this is not my favorite thing to do. But to resign tonight.
I guess my opinion is, I'm a no, and I totally agree that there's a lot of, we all have very different opinions. And we're very strong opinions. And I think if we're gonna get recalled, then I guess then we'll should do that. That's what they want.
This is gonna cost.
We were
us-
elected to be up here.
I get that,
elected to
without a doubt.
resign.
But it's gonna cost the city a ton of money.
I also believe getting rid of Diane is gonna cost the city a ton of money.
I mean, there's just start dumping your auditors, you can't do that. Doesn't work. Go ahead, do whatever you want.
We've done quite a clerks in the last year.
Wonder why.
Wonder
Let's
why.
go.
Have you asked them why?
Wonder why?
Let's go, let's roll.
That's not anything to do with the council.
Your staff can take it on that.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead.
Are you going to read your 3 pages that you have?
I think it's gotten to be 5 now.
Oh, 5 now.
Come on. This thing started out with a ambulance call to cancer home where Shelby was having medical problems. And we,
Dare you.
Don't know quite what that has to do with Diane.
well, I'm getting to that, like I'm saying. Anyway, so we ended up that we had to bring in people from the school to help the ambulance crew. At that time, the chief of police was supposed to be working, but he was not to be found. When this was brought up to Diane to check the schedule, she refused to do so. Later on that month, we had a citizen that was keeping an eye on the police chief's house when he went to work, when he came home from middle, and when she came home from work, it was out about the evening, and the police car was always home. And so she kept track of that for, I believe it was a month. I turned the document over to someone who turned it over to me. I took the document to our city administrator, who is in charge of the city. And while we wait for that, the city administrator, job summary, is directing, supervising, and coordinating all divisions and departments within the city to ensure efficient, effective organization. Planning, management, and duties include coordinating and overall supervision of departments and division managers. Further down, coordinates and as needed prioritizes and assigns work to departments and or divisions managing to accomplish specific or operational special projects, oversees the management of all departments and agencies and offices in the city. Number 11, create a standard operating procedures for handling city administrative functions, city board activities, police administration, and city park. Number 12, acquire knowledge of all operations involved in the city. Business and be able to fill other employee positions in their absence. This is the paper that, you apply for the job, that's what you're looking forward to. So when I brought the plan talks or the observations of the police car being at home, I brought it into Diane as the administrator. I gave it to her. I said, this is what I got. It's up to you to check the police schedule. All you had to do was take this sheet and that sheet, compare them, and make a decision. But instead of that, she first said that she didn't have the police schedules. And then later on, she had them, but they were locked in the drawer. And another date, she had that the chief had offered her the schedules, but she refused to take them. After I left the documents with her, I went back to work. When we came to the council meeting, the next one, I don't have it written down. The next council meeting, everybody on council had a copy of the schedule of when the police car was at home. Diane had given the document to the police commissioner, which is probably appropriate, Mr. Keeson, and it got disseminated among the council. And instead of anybody making any effort to investigate it, they turned it over to the sheriff's department as a stalking item. And it was investigated by the sheriff's department and found not to be true. But the simplest thing would have been to take the document when it was brought in, check it out. But I have to believe, or not, I don't want to believe, but it would have been so easy to clear this up that I gotta wonder if there was collusion. It would be so simple just to check it out. You don't need to go through the city council, you don't need to go through everybody, just check it out. It would have been done, but, and kept it in-house, and nobody would have had to worry about it. Would never have gotten out. But you just almost have to believe that there was something there to hide, or it would have been easily just discovered. Excuse me.
You want to address these as you go, or just?
I'm sorry?
You want to address these as we go, or just read the whole thing?
I'm going to read the whole thing. This is my, I have a floor, and I'm going to continue until we're done. It was turned over to the labor department. Let's see, back again. During the time that I was trying to get Diane to investigate these issues, I did on a number of times tell her that it was her job as administrator to be doing this. If you're going to be the boss, you got to investigate these things and keep them under control. So I did, yes, tell her that she wasn't doing her job on a couple of occasions. Let's see, next thing was the document to the Labor Department. The question was that Mayor Tollefson requested by open records copies of the Surrey Police Chief's work schedule. The complainant acting in her capacity as Surrey administrator denied the request because the information is confidential and exempt from open records. The truth is, I did not ask for anything on open records. I simply brought the document to Diane to investigate, and I walked out. The information is confidential, but not to the mayor. It's confidential in that the mayor cannot be passing it around or telling anybody about it. But as mayor, I have access to, to go to Century Code. I can look at any paper, any document, anywhere in the city files. Complaint alleges that in response to denial, she started retaliating against her to a hostile environment, looking for reasons to terminate her employment. She assumes that this is introductory sentence, something. This was on January. Or no, January. Yeah. That would be section B. At that time, they're going to go around. All what had to be done was to check the two schedules together and see if there was an issue. Item C, complaint alleges Mayor Tollefson has not provided a receipt for the banners that I ordered that you see as you come into town. Happy Thanksgiving or Merry Christmas. I forgot to print. It was brought up once and I forgot about it again. It's not a issue. It says here that was unable to pay the credit card bill because I did not have the invoice. Well, the credit card bill was paid at the same council meeting that they were ordered to receive. Complaint alleges she wasn't doing her job. That was D. I have told her as an administrator, she must be on top of what's going on in the city, and part of her job that she was not doing, and said she was not doing her job. E. Mayor Tollefson requested by open records correspondence between the administrator and council members. I did make an open records request for emails between the administration and current and former council members. It's perfectly legal under my job as mayor. Complaint let you receive. Complaint alleges that on November 11th, 2020, after the city received a complaint from a citizen, Mayor Tollefson informed the citizen that the city, she had told Mayor Tollefson that the citizens' complaints were frivolous and not worth investigating, which she claimed she never said. At the next meeting at 2 hours and 2 minutes into the city council meeting, she said virtually the same thing in response to being questioned on. That they were not worth looking into and threw them in the garbage. On December 9th, she received a letter from Mayor Tollefson's attorney in which she was accused of defaming Mayor Tollefson. At that council meeting, after we talked about the throwing things in the garbage. My attorney was watching the whole thing on YouTube, and he felt that I was being slandered and defamed, and sent and asked me if he could send her a letter instructing her not to be doing that. And I agreed. This complaint is a hostile work environment. Now, let's see here. One of the other aggravating things, I guess, is that I've been mayor for over a year, and it wasn't till last week that I had access to the office. I had to get permission to go into the office. And as mayor, I have Century Code says that I can have access to anything. All documents and papers, and it was denied at any time. The attorney, a number of times when we were, Deb, the attorney at that time, a number of times stated that I was able to have a police report, but we never did get it, we never came across. Some of the issues, the person that filed the complaints with the city, one of the complaints was that the city was paying the legal bills for current and former employees. That one complaint was that he didn't believe that should be done. And the second one was that nothing gets done when he does complain about things. There was a couple of road issues that happened for 2 years and they never got fixed. And finally, after things started getting wild, then they were fixed. And so much of this is repeating here. Time cards, we never had time cards, everybody wrote their time down. There was no time clock to manage everything. It took 6 months to finally get that. On April 3rd, I was denied access to the office by Diane and Lewis. On April 2nd, Tammy Heinsack was in the office ordering coffee, but I wasn't allowed in. There was a dispute over the park credit card. She called Brenda, Jenny, and the park president before I was allowed to have the park credit card. There should be more, but I'm tired of talking about it. One other glaring fact is the fact that we're on our sixth clerk since time I started. I don't remember all the names even now. Because you can't, I mean, if you lose 1 or 2 employees, I've been in my own business for 35 years. And if you lose employees, it's 1 or 2 can have bad employees, but when you lose 6 of them, or 5, I guess we have one now, that's a good thing. If you lose 5 employees in less than a year and a half, it's a management problem, it's not employee problem. So that's about all I have.
I have a question. I would like to know if there is a reason that you have all these items listed for that you have grievances that you have against Diane, but why you never follow the proper procedures in our personnel procedures here, in our personnel policy.
What would be those procedures?
Well, there is a policy for going through and wanting to discipline someone.
At one time, I put a letter of reprimand in the file.
She has several letters in her file, from what I understand. No,
Well, we'll get it.
she has a few letters in her file. I'm not saying they're all letters of reprimand, but
I put one letter in the file.
the ones you gave her the other night when she was sitting right up here,
That can't be it.
you gave her one the other night when you were sitting here over the Facebook, over the Facebook thing, which was not right. We have a statement.
Well, okay, if you want to talk about
So-
that.
Well, that's what I wanted to know.
Okay, well, you want to talk about the Facebook thing, I forgot about that.
You didn't bring that one.
The other morning, a couple of weeks ago, the power was out. If you guys remember, they were sending electricity down to Texas or something, so the power was out. And I got a couple of, it was a phone call and a text message or something that there was a GoFundMe page on the Surrey City Facebook page, the web page, whatever. I called the city, the power was out, so the phone didn't work. The only phone number I had while I was driving to work was, John's. So I called him, I said, I've gotten a couple calls about the GoFundMe page on Facebook. Did you talk to whoever's in charge? Just bring it up. Next thing I know, Twyla has all over, I don't know, where did you send the document?
I didn't send it anywhere.
Well, how did I get them if they were from you?
I didn't send anything anywhere.
Yeah, that's not accurate at all.
Oh, what did I send?
There was something about that, I was told the people to take down the Facebook page and GoFundMe because I didn't want Carol because she was.
You're right, I said that 100%.
Okay, you said,
I said it. I didn't, I
how
said
did
it.
you find out about when nobody else could use the phone? Where did that come from? Was that somebody sneaking around?
You gave her a letter
Well, we're not
telling
talking
her,
about that.
no, telling her that you were reprimanding her because she didn't call you back.
No.
Oh, excuse me, you did as
No,
you
I
did
didn't.
too.
She turned me into the labor department and exclusive. I was harassing her because she didn't return a phone call. That was absolutely a lie. And anything that's in her file is something she put there herself.
Can we start these at number one, so that.
Yeah, let's do that. I like that idea.
Okay, I like the first 3 or 4, you give an example of the whole fee schedule thing. I was not on the board at that time. But I do recall there was a lot of going back and forth as far as schedules, can I get them, can I not get them, where does the email come from, where does this come from? And somebody had emailed you,
No,
No,
you got a letter from somebody,
it was given to me by him.
I heard.
Person and
and you would never let anybody know who that person was.
would come to sheriff.
The labor documents as far as you being, minutes and schedules, that's all the same thing. Okay. Where does the council come into play as far as it not being Diane's fault, but it's the council's fault? If you want keys to the building, and Diane's not gonna give you, I mean, we sat here, we must talk about, I want to say 3 or 4 years. I don't have keys, I don't have keys, I don't have keys. Why didn't you flat out ask us?
Why do I have to ask the council? I'm the mayor. I am the chief.
I get that, and we are in charge of Diane. And if I went to Diane, or somebody else went to Diane and said, maybe Chuck shouldn't get the keys, tell him the keys, because we really don't quite trust him. Whatever that might have been. You certainly could have come to us at a council meeting. It wasn't Diane not giving them to us. It was us. I mean, you're blaming the wrong people on some of this stuff. Okay, the banner. How many times did she ask you for that receipt? One. What were you gonna do with the receipt? I was told that you was from Menards, on the Menards receipt as well. How about that one? What were you gonna put that one? How about the Menards receipt where there was a 10% rebate back and you wanted the receipt to get the rebate? Instead of the city of Surrey.
It's never been 10%, it's always 11, so.
Diane at the same time.
After how many times did she ask? You wanted to take that receipt and get your money back.
The same day I brought the receipt in and I picked up the
You're a
stuff,
mistake.
she got that receipt.
You're a mistake.
No, you are. You get your information from somebody that shows to be reliable.
The complaint as far as the road, I think that was probably our deal with Patty. How was she involved in that?
She's the administrator, she's the boss, she's the supervisor.
And how many times did I tell Mr. Badke and you and AJ, I'm not gonna pave that damn road?
She's the administrator.
That wasn't her. That was me. I didn't want to pave it. I didn't want to do it.
Who's the public works?
Yes, there wasn't.
I know.
There was a couple of potholes.
You're jumping ahead so fast that we can't even.
Talk in your mic, please.
Let's go back to the keys. I addressed that multiple times why he does not have it. And one of the things you said, not all of the mayors in the past have had it.
I didn't have.
I didn't either. Why is it that giving his keys, why is that? Why was that when it says in the North Dakota Century Post that that's what certain duties he's supposed to have, and he's not allowed by certain council members and administrators?
Okay, I'll be honest. Why they were not allowed, I didn't want to give them to him. I was afraid he was gonna go into personnel files and remove it.
Can I ask a
You
question?
just make up stuff and go along.
I'm telling you why I didn't want to have the keys. That's exactly, that's why.
Can I just ask a question? Why would you want keys to this building if there's something you can't take care of under normal business hours?
Part of the reason that I wanted keys, and probably Steve didn't have them, because at one time, all of the employees in the city of Surrey lived in Surrey, except for the 2 policemen. Otherwise, all public works, all the office staff, everybody lived here. If there was an emergency, if something had to happen, there was 5 people in town that could get into the building. Now, we have 1 person that lives in the city of Surrey. John lives in Logan, AJ lives in Minot, Diane lives in Minot. If there's an emergency or something has to happen, nobody has access to any of the buildings.
Now, what the police report?
They're not always
They're
on.
not here. They live in Minot too. Well, Chief lives in Belleville. Yes, Mr.
Can I address, now let's go back to the road issue. That is not Chuck Badge's property. That's those washouts on the end of the road. We didn't pave it, no one asked to pave it. We asked to dump some recycle in there, which AJ did, and smoothed it all up. Because it was all washed, it was a mess, just from the rain washing it down. We went over and looked at me and you, and I said, that's how, that's what I would do. And you told me you didn't know the difference between gravel or recycle. And I said, this is the smartest thing to do, and maybe we gotta do it every year, every other year, whatever. It was an easy fix, but it was a heck of a fight for 2 years, and it was city property.
I get that.
That's all that had to be done. I think it took AJ, if I remember right, an hour and a half.
Was it 2 years before AJ was here?
No, it was even,
It was needed repaired before AJ started.
It wasn't just Diane is what I'm saying that wasn't telling us to do it. I mean, if you have a councilman whether it was Ethan or myself or whoever is in charge of AJ, and we don't get around to telling them to do it, or we do tell them they can get it done next month or the month after, where's Diane come into that picture?
What's her position again? Administrator over all.
Yep. And if I had told,
So isn't she the administrator over Public Works, Chief of Police, and her office?
but if she comes to me and I say, this is what we're doing, she's not gonna freaking,
So-
what's she gonna do?
What's the administrator? What's the point? Then there's no responsibility on her, right? Is that what you're
The
saying?
ultimate responsibility is up here.
I think she does more than fix streets.
It isn't for her to go out and fix the street. It was addressed at the council multiple times.
To AJ, not to her.
Well, she's sitting here.
I get she's sitting there, but at the end of the
We
day,
should go to
AJ,
work.
if I tell AJ we're not gonna fix that road, who's in trouble for it, AJ or Diane?
Diane,
Diane, she's the
Diane.
administrator.
If you work for somebody, and you go to work and you don't do your job, is it your responsibility or your boss is gonna be the one that's gonna take it out of you, right?
But aren't they called the loss?
no.
Why are we talking on?
Chuck, didn't you say that road has been like that for years and years?
Why are we talking about a road?
This is just points.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to my original question. I'd like an answer.
Eroding more and more.
Okay.
Longer it's-
It's fixed now, so everybody's
Yes.
happy. I have a question for AJ, or for Andrew, I'm sorry, and the mayor. I want to know, if I had an issue with something, I would hope that my boss would come to me and have a discussion like an adult. But I want to know why you just can boom, list all these things, which in my opinion are ridiculous and petty, and they're not worthy of firing her. But yet you don't have to follow our own policy. We have a policy. I have had several discussions with Diane regarding communication with you. I have tried to explain to her that you are the mayor, she should have communication with you. And that is something that we were working on. But you don't have communication with her either. It's a two-way street.
Why don't you have Diane's cell phone?
I have it written down in my legal calendar. I don't carry it with me.
I mean, day one, you get, I mean, that's like priority one, she's the auditor, she's the administrator, you have to have that cell phone. She just didn't think it was that shot. That's not Diane's fault either. There's a huge lack of communication between both of you. I mean, it started and it just progressively got worse and worse and worse and worse. I mean, she went to the labor board twice. And we haven't fixed that yet. And now as she's has a grievance with the labor committee, we're gonna get rid of her during that process.
We haven't done any labor board.
That we know.
Not good talking. Have you ever?
I don't think the labor department would appreciate that comment.
I don't care if they appreciate it or not. I talked to the labor board. I have 5 pages of answers to their accusations, and they said they have no interest in my side. They're a mediator. All they want to do is smooth it over. There is no, they don't make any judgment, they don't do anything, they just smooth it over. Everybody should say kumbaya and go on with their lives.
We tried mediation once, and that didn't go over well either, because nothing happened from that.
Okay, so I've been back on the council since July, I believe was the first meeting. And there's been multiple things that we're talking about here that have been addressed at council meetings. And nothing gets done. Pardon me? How about the clerk position? We hired a clerk, it's here for a week. That got buried for 4 months before it ever got addressed. Some of us ask constantly, what's the deal with the clerk? Do we need a new one? What's going on? That was all just shh.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is. It didn't get addressed until what, 2 meetings ago? That should have been addressed right away, within that month. That was 4 months it took. Whose fault is that? Must be someone who runs, okay.
It's all of
They
our
work,
fault.
they work for 1 week. I asked every council meeting, what's going on with the clerk? Nothing was said. It's
She said
true.
she had health issues.
She was here 1
Yes,
week.
that's
I
right.
have no idea.
We can't discuss it in an open
And I
meeting.
don't wanna talk about that. All I want to know is why we did not have the position filled. 4 months it sat, and that person worked 1 week.
Again, she was
Why?
lecturing and we were hopeful that she would come back.
You had council members that were asking questions. What's going on? I don't need any information why she was sick. I wanted to know why it was taking so long, the position either wasn't filled by someone else, it was something needed to be addressed. I'm pretty sure you ain't gonna go to work and not show up for 4 months, and your boss is gonna do nothing about it. There's multiple things, every meeting this goes on. They get addressed. I go on, I
I-
10 meetings.
I'll have to go along. I mean, a lot of this, yeah, there's definitely some points to it.
It's not worthy of firing someone.
You guys have had ongoing conflicts since I got here. I know that.
It's been a bitch from the day one.
Do you know that when I call this office, I have to record my conversation, or there's allegations that are not true?
And you have to record them as well.
Yeah.
Because of the
Yeah, I know.
allegations that are true.
Well, I record them
And in
too.
the audience.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk to you right now about that.
Carly, you have something to
I
say?
think we should address
No.
this and finish it.
I have a lot to say.
I'll say one more word and you're out the door.
That's how you treat people in the
That's
public?
right.
We're having a
You
discussion.
remember when Carlo was the mayor? How many people got thrown out then?
I don't,
All right,
quite
that's enough.
honestly,
We've had enough discussion.
not from the public.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to reinstate that.
I'll second that.
Mr. Fenwell, to reinstate Diane as administrator, and the second by Ms. Ganson. Now, the roll call vote, Steve. Sorry about that. Discussion first.
I think we just discussed.
Well, we discussed enough of it, but I guess we have, and I don't know where I'm gonna go with Diana, I have no other choice. Let's just call if there's 50 people out there. Should we fire her or should we not? Let's just see what they want to say. If you want her to stay, raise your hand.
You were hired to, you were,
And if you want her to go, raise your hand. I see 0 hands.
We're letting them vote, or we have to?
They voted us in.
Yes, Sue.
They're the ones that tell us
We
what
are
to
going to get sued, but don't worry, we have insurance. We'll just have to pay the deductible. It's true.
Pull up for the
council. Mr. Fenwell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Ganser, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Dickinson, how do you vote?
No.
Councilman Johns, how do you vote?
No,
Wait.
3-2, we have a time. Mayor breaks the time.
Right. You're gonna get sued.
Yeah.
You have an open,
Is it carried?
you have an open claim with the labor department and hostile workplace environment, and you're gonna. You guys are all gonna have to pay for this. The insurance fund is not going to cover this.
This is the second
All
time.
right, it's illegal.
Anna?
They know it's illegal. I just see myself out. Thank you, Anna. But you will all get sued. It is a violation
Wait, I
of a
can't-
lawsuit.
there are multiple counts of insubordination. There's meetings that were called where the mayor had no idea what the topic
There's an
was.
open claim
Um,
of hostile workplace environment. It's open.
Are you still,
You have to see.
Oh, okay. Anna, would you please remove?
You see yourself out.
Well,
Vice Wall.
I make a motion to terminate Diane Future for causes and the reasons cited by the mayor.
one second, that
You're gonna get sued.
he said Weiser Walsh.
The insurance won't cover malfeasance.
We have a motion on the floor.
Or second,
Or pause.
We have a motion on the floor to remove Ms. Fugit as administrator.
We ask the attorney's expert opinion on whether or not he thinks we're gonna get sued. He's been to every meeting, he knows all about the waiver board, that evidently doesn't work and everything. But let's hear what you have to say.
I'm not going to pretend to know what's on this. But I've already given some opinion on whether or not it would be legal to terminate the clause.
What's the opinion?
I believe that the failure to notify the mayor of the received petition to replace council seats constitutes an deficiency that the city may terminate the clause under 3.07. I don't make an opinion on whether or not the council should. I want that noted for the minutes.
I want it noted in the minutes as well that, that exact document that you just referenced was not at all listed in the mayor's list. So I'll have that noted in the minutes, please.
we said it at the last meeting.
Wasn't in the list that you just read right now.
There's a lot of things on the list.
Well, I'm just saying, if that's what the attorney thinks you have thoughts for that, you didn't even mention it.
We have a motion on the floor. Yeah, look,
Oh, yes.
we have a motion on the floor and a second. Roll call
Brent,
vote,
we've
Brent.
got two motions on, oh, there's not. There's only one. Brent. The other one failed, yes. We know, yes.
You make the motion, Brent?
Yes.
How do you vote?
Yes.
Jenny, second? How you vote?
Yes,
Steve?
I'm voting no, and just, we already.
I'm voting no,
Wiley?
no,
Voting no.
no. This is wrong.
32, the motion carries. Doesn't make us vote yes. After that, let's go on with the meeting. Financial reports, and invoices, paid.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial report.
Have a motion on the floor to pay the financials.
I'll second.
Second by John. Any discussion? Hearing none, voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Motion passed. Public appearances. We would have any questions?
No, we have one, but you
Old business walking path lights. We have a bid from all elected.
I'll make a motion to approve the first option of $1,450, which includes a 1-year warranty on the installation and a 5-year manufacturer warranty on the fixture.
We have a motion to approve the bid for $1,450 to replace the lights on the walking path on the non-merged Memorial Park.
Can we ask you to please come here?
Mr. Mayor, can I amend my motion to use highway fund money?
We have a motion, motion to spend $1,450 and to use the highway fund money to do so. Second by Mr. Dickinson.
Yes.
Roll call vote. Councilman Johns,
Yes.
Councilman Dickinson.
Yes.
Councilman Ganser,
Yes.
Councilman Fennel. Yep. Motion passed. Next, Midco franchise renewal. Anyone from Midco here?
He was here last week, right, Douglas?
So this is the second, would be the second meeting to our reading unless you guys want any other changes here.
This is to keep the same services, right?
Right, it's just gotta go through 2 meetings.
2 weeks.
Yep. If you guys want any changes, you would note that. If you make changes or if you're okay to accept it, you can approve.
Did we make any last time? Did we make any changes last time?
I'll make a motion to approve it on second reading.
We have a motion to approve the Midco contract.
I'll
Second reading, we have the second by Brett. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Miles,
Yes.
Mr. Davidson.
Yes.
Ms. Johns,
Yes.
and Mr. Fennel.
Yep.
County Building Inspector Agreement.
This is just to inform you guys that the county has rehired a building inspector and we're gonna contract with them. And I met him today. Leo brought it out. He's gonna be training with him for the next month before he retires. So your option as a city is to roll with this contract or look for it.
You can see a contract basically.
Absolutely, it don't have to be renewed, it's just putting it in front of your face.
So this goes for 1 more year. With the county or?
This is from 2019.
Yes, this actually rolls as long as you guys want it active with the county.
And the,
There's
okay,
not a renewal unless you feel there would be changes.
so this is just information. you want.
Information for your face.
Okay, new business, in-site authorization for Dennis Fire. Mayor, taking vote. Need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the gaming site authorization submitted by Devil's Fire Group to use American Legion Post 91.
We have a motion by Ms. Johns, we have a second. We have a second by Mr. Dickinson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Johns,
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Ms. Hanson?
Yes.
Mr. Fennel? Complaint form. Is it- is your opinion, go through all this, or can you just?
We have a complaint ordinance that says any complaint about the mayor or a city official should be submitted to the council for discussion and potential resolution. So it is something that is properly on the agenda, but if the council chooses to take no action, then that's the council's decision. But it is something that has to be placed on the agenda and discussed for the complaint ordinance that was passed about 6 months ago.
So my question is, this complaint is to me from a relative of mine in a discussion in text messages, not on social media. And I don't know why that needs to be addressed. This is a family,
You were gonna be a state,
this is,
and your behaviors on the board are not actually ethical for.
and you're talking out of turn again?
Yeah, it's a complaint submitted to the city, so under the complaint ordinance, it has to go on the agenda. If somebody wants to make a motion to disregard it, and take no action, that's a council member's prerogative.
I make the motion.
Against yourself? Yeah, good one.
This is between a family member though. This has nothing to do with, our opinions has been voiced very much back and forth with my cousin that I thought I was close to. And now all of a sudden she's mad at something and she's turning on me. When
Yeah,
we had a private discussion.
I don't think it has to be read out loud. It just has to be addressed at the next regular meeting.
How do you address it without reading?
We have two of them on the board, right? There's two complaint forms.
There's only one in the packet.
No, there's one against Brent and then there's one against.
There's one against the mayor and the council.
I'm asking about this one, why this was never brought up. I can't wait to talk about it.
Okay, well,
Let's finish the Brent and Chuck one first.
We have a motion to close the judgment.
I don't think you make a motion to get rid of his own complaint. I guess it's Heather's complaint. Heather, do you want us to read yours against the mayor, or who do you want to go first? It's your deal.
We can read them off, go for it.
I guess.
Oh. But it's actually documented evidence. And it talks about all you guys. And the community, and the behaviors, and it's okay for him to do what he does.
It was a private communication.
Doesn't matter.
It'll be all the records tomorrow. So might as well
Right, you
read
can
it.
have a copy of it all tomorrow. When you public records.
Gotta go on public records. Might as well.
Do your job, Chuck.
Okay,
It's
Mike.
okay
I'll
to
make
talk.
a motion to table the issue to the next meeting for further review.
Mike,
I have a question, is, if you were a member of the council up there, and you talk about, if you talk about city business on your personal phone with the residents of the community, it's a public record,
yes.
just
Yeah.
for you guys to be aware of.
There's a motion on the floor from Councilman Johnson.
You have to
the
rescind this
motion
or-
again,
Oh, I make a motion to table the issue for further review the next meeting.
we have a motion to table the issue.
Just these two right here, complaints, sending over these.
That's all I have, so.
We have a second. The motion on the floor to table the issue, do we have a second? Hearing none, the motion is defeated.
There's a chance the second meeting motion to table it to the next meeting.
Oh, I wasn't sure.
Okay, Heather's complaint against the mayor says, the mayor shall perform all duties prescribed by law or by city ordinances and shall see that the laws and ordinances are fully executed. On March 18, 2021, there was a city meeting ran by Mr. Collison. I watched this meeting and saw that the mayor of Surrey is not following the ethics or his duties of mayor. I watched you yell at staff as well as bullying them with your derogatory remarks, as well as told council members to shut up multiple times. You didn't do your job as mayor or representing our city. You allowed multiple people on the council to call their names. I think that our city has had enough. I would like you to kindly ask for you to resign your position. It appears that you can't handle the council or your manner. People shouldn't ever be treated the way that this council is being ran. I have listed a few of the things that you continue to do and nothing you can be done about it. Improper use of position, incompatible with staff, verbal use to council members, verbal abuse to council members, predatory. The one against Brent. I'm writing to you due to behavior on March 1st, 2021. While watching this meeting, Brent Dickinson yelled at many people and called them names. We have given him many chances. It appears that he cannot handle himself on council. The city has placed rules for his behavior and he continues to not follow these rules. I feel it's time to remove him from council. I have also attached some text messages he recently sent me talking about other members of the board. I feel this is unacceptable and he needs to be removed from the board.
Before you read them, I have one comment. This was a private conversation with my relative. Plain and simple, not on social media. This was a private conversation.
But they're still.
I don't care.
city business.
I'm just saying, you're still.
This is
city
my
council.
relative that I trusted talking about different issues. Whatever, you never talked about anyone?
Well, it's very hard to read it out loud, but
You'll be glad to know, right, Steve?
no, that's the only thing you know what pisses me off about it, Brad?
Nothing does me, because this was a confidential
I
text
get that.
message between me and
I
my
get that, I
relative.
understand
Not
that.
me and
I
you.
did it a million times myself.
Not me and you. This was my relative that she did a GoFundMe for my son. She helped a lot. She called and cared about it. We've talked about multiple things. I can write a whole list of stuff what she's bashed to me too over the last
How are we
5 months.
supposed to work together as
This was
a team?
This was a conversation with my relative. Plain and simple.
But how are we?
This didn't need to be aired in
I get
public.
that. I
This
get
was
that.
too,
It's
this was too
irrelevant. It
bully.
already is.
This is a gotcha deal. All it
How
is.
are we supposed to work?
This
as
is
a
none of
group?
the council's business, my conversation with her.
But it's here.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's a gotcha.
I understand that's what you're thinking, and maybe it is.
It isn't, this is like, you're so excited to read this, and even fine, read it, let's go, I don't care.
And like I said, I'm supposed to work with them. That's
And you're supposed
that's
to
the
work with them.
problem. That's what's hard for us to do. Go ahead.
You are.
Go ahead then. Tell her yes or no.
Yes,
Can I talk?
yes.
Regardless if they are public or not, your behavior here is unacceptable. You're not fun, on YouTube, you're trashing our town.
You're name what, because I said the F word?
You swear at people,
When did I swear? At the
you tell
meeting?
people to shut up, you do his job, you ask people to be removed, you continue to outstand yourself, it's not your job.
The only time that I swore in here was at the last monthly meeting when I asked Twyla to please stop talking about my family. I think that was a
Which I
little
apologize
messed up.
for, because.
And you know what I said? I wanted nothing to do with this social media. I don't want to talk about it. I didn't know my son was even on there. And Twyla kept going. And I asked her 3 times to stop. And you know what? Then she kept going, and then I said, F you, Twyla. It's completely inappropriate for her to talk about my disabled boy that just got home.
Has anybody here listened to that meeting? Anybody?
You said family, not my
Not
son's
one
name.
time did I say your child's name.
No, you didn't.
Not one time.
You said my family.
But you keep throwing it in my face.
I did not believe that you were trying to win.
I wasn't.
I told you to leave.
Or you.
Text each other.
You're done. Can I have a floor now? Are you done? Okay.
What we wanna do.
You didn't even give me a chance, you let them take my time.
You have problems.
Really, did I? You guys have your personal agendas, this town is never going to change. He has wanted her removed and Diane removed since June, I didn't even turn those in, friends. They have personal agendas removed Diane before you even got reinstated, which was in July. Everything with Jen, everything that's happening, it's not changing. You guys literally vote against each other and you're destroying our city. You run your mouth to chase anybody off, and that's just the way it is. It's not okay, it's unacceptable, you're not doing your job. You need
Yeah,
to
I
be
am.
removed.
I am the one that sits up here and votes to not spend taxpayers' money. For
But
example,
you're wasting it, we're gonna get sued now, so that's
Oh.
great.
yeah, that's your opinion.
Brett, I have people that won't even run for council because they don't want to deal with you in the outside world or on the council.
What about you?
I have none.
Whatever. Bring up anything you want.
It sounded like Councilman Johnson wanted to say something.
Well, I've had the same, people approach me, but for two other members, I was just.
Sure you have.
Exactly.
Like I said, it's not gonna change, it's not gonna change unless we all go.
We need to do something about this complaint.
There's a motion on the floor to table it, but it never got a second.
That's right, so now we need another one. We have,
What are our options on doing, I mean, it needs to go somewhere. I don't know what you do with it, it's public record. It's embarrassing. It is what it is. I mean,
Private conversation between me and my wife.
I'll give it to you all, you can all have it. Give me your number and I'll give it to every one of you. You wanna act like that, I'll share it with everybody. I'll put it on Facebook for you.
You pretty much done it anyways.
you got a question over here by this bill.
yes, sir.
In your policy that you're talking about right now, what is your disciplinary action in that policy? One policy that you're going to address complaint forms. If this complaint gets, what is the policy on disciplinary action after that?
Right, the ordinance says that it just has to be addressed by the council. With regard to how to discipline a council member, there's another ordinance that allows for censure upon a certain percentage of the vote, but that motion has to be taken without discussion. I don't know of any other disciplinary measures short of a recall for the board.
Need a motion. I'm sorry, let's see the-
If a motion for censure fails, it cannot be brought again.
And what was this do?
It would have to be recorded in the minutes that the council person was censured. There's another part of the ordinance that I don't remember that talks about how many times someone can be censured, but I don't recall that off the top of my head.
Twice in any 6-month period.
We have a motion.
We'll do it.
I would like you guys all to quit, so that way we can get new people. That'd be the best solution for our whole entire city. And sadly, people that have been here the longest refuse to go because they have personal agendas.
So if we made a motion and a separate grant for this, would he be removed from the council? This would be his second time in 6 months. March 1st. So we remove from March 1st. Just clearing.
Isn't that different than this?
No, it is, it's not the same. Grass and straws, come on.
Okay, let's skip over this. and go over the next one.
Yeah.
We can't just skip over it. We have to do something with it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to censor Brett. Let's see what happens.
The motion has to contain a reason, explanation for the censure.
The reason of explanation is because of what he wrote in his derogatory comments. I no longer feel that I can work sensibly with Mr. Dickinson as council.
Brent, please, written.
Text messages.
I'll second it, just for discussion.
They were text messages from my phone.
Those a motion has to be voted on without discussion.
No discussion.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Steve made a motion to censure Brent. And
Try this. Or,
No, Jenny,
Jenny seconded. No discussion. Steve,
yep,
Jennifer.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Attorney? Does Brent get to vote?
No, it's conflict of interest.
So, yes.
Yes.
Brad can't vote. Brad, you were being censured. Moving on.
So what we have,
That's what I want to know. What does it mean? No, it means he has to leave this meeting.
No,
It doesn't?
the censure is a public
Well,
record.
how come he did the last one?
Because he was expelled. An expulsion is different than
Censure basically, censure means that the council doesn't agree with what another council member basically did, said, is that correct?
In layman's terms, it's just a public, reprimand that is going to go in the minutes.
Chuck will give him a letter.
I have a question then about, since we're talking about complaints. We do have this complaint here that was, anybody see this complaint? It's named, Surrey citizen. It's signed by a bunch of people on the back. Right?
It's not.
It's not on the agenda.
But what happened, it
Oh,
was a complaint.
It's a complaint.
Who did you get that from? None of us see.
Wasn't in the packet. Okay.
Where, Mr. Mayor, I would like to know where that came from.
Came from Surrey citizen.
No, we didn't Chuck then.
You didn't do anything with Chuck's, you only did something with Brent's.
It's true. Anybody want to censure the mayor?
No.
Can we make a motion first?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to censor the mayor.
I'll second it. You can't
A
vote.
motion to censure the mayor. We have, Mr. Canal,
Sure.
Ms. Gadsden, how do you?
Yep.
Mr. Dickinson, how do you vote?
No.
Ms. Johns, how do you vote?
No,
John, I can't vote. Motion carries.
So that's gonna, the other one will be on the next agenda?
The complaint ordinance says it has to be addressed at the next regular meeting of the council. So if it's not addressed today, no action can be taken.
It was signed on March 29th.
Okay, but where's it come from?
I don't know. I don't know.
wait, you don't know where you got it?
I think so. I think someone emailed it to me. But honestly, I don't remember. You want me to read it?
I think it should be that.
Or have permission? Do I have permission to read it?
While we're reading out loud, you got close to your mic.
I am writing to express my dissatisfaction with the way the city administrator communicates with the mayor and the city council. On March 18th, 2021, a meeting took place at City Hall. This meeting displayed lack of communication on the administrator's part and appeared to also hold some resistance and disrespect for the mayor and other elected officials. During this meeting, it was apparent that the mayor did not have any knowledge about a petition for a special election, which was found in the city's Dropbox on the city's Dropbox, March 15th, 2021. It also appeared that at least one member of the council did in fact have knowledge about the petition, while other members did not. It is counterintuitive and counterproductive to have the mayor finding out about important information during a city meeting. This is unacceptable, unprofessional, and needs to be addressed. The mayor should not have to call or stop in and ask if there's anything he should know about. The mayor runs our city, and it should be in everyone's best interest to keep him informed, especially when one getting paid a nice salary to do so. She should be part of the solution, not part of the problem. To have a successful resolution to be issued, I recommend this communication gap be closed immediately. I feel strongly the administrator should be communicating with the mayor and or city council daily, especially when imperative issues arise, whether that is via email, phone call, or text. If the current administrator cannot or chooses not to fulfill this obligation, it might be in the city's best interest to sever the relationship and hire someone who's a team player. I hope this letter is taken seriously and that the necessary steps are proven to improve the city communication, which will in turn improve our community. Looking forward to positive change and support between everyone involved. And it is signed Mindy Montalvo, along with some other supporting signatures. No addresses, but signatures.
What would you like us to do with that?
Well, I'm gonna just make a statement that says, the person that wrote this complaint is not the person that signed it. I have a statement from that person saying so. So, in my opinion, it's arbitrary. Well, there's no verification of who these people are. Half of them, we can't even read the names. We don't know where they live. We don't know if they're voters within the city of Surrey. Can you read that name right there? You know whose signature that is?
I mean, I don't really think it's fair that none of us have a copy of that or know anything
But
about
I
it.
mean, it's kind of, doesn't this technically be fighting one-sided here, that we're that council up here, and then we have citizens here that are saying exactly what some up here think.
Mr. Schultz, had a point.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Plan was terminated earlier in the meeting, so why do we need to discuss the complaint when the worst thing we can do is fire her and it's already happened?
Right. But why wasn't, what my point was, why wasn't this complaint brought up?
I understand, but the responsibility of the council now is to decide what to do about the complaint. And I think the complaint is moot. Now it's just.
I agree. I'm just being open, I'm sharing what I have.
Moving on. NDIR. Going to the reserve fund. Maybe you have something there?
And just letting you guys know that you're getting refunds and we got those checks in today.
Confirming the benefit.
If you read the letter, it's just a benefit for a kickback for the.
Okay. Beautification committee.
I would like to ask the council, if we don't have a do a free beautification, I will put together a small committee. I've also started last March researching this. If you know what downtown Minot looks like, the pots that were hanging down the main street there, that is what I would like to do. It's gonna cost a little money, but I will tell you how I'm gonna do it. First of all, I spoke with Artel. I cannot hang any pots where there is lights on the poles, but I counted that there's 11 poles that I can use. And I do have that okay from Artel. The only thing is if they have to go in and change the pole, they'll take the bracket off and then we would have to put that back on there, the pot, and that's minor. Okay, so I have 11 poles and I'll start at the entrance of Surrey and go down to the post office. Okay, I can do 11 hanging, 11 16-inch little hanging baskets with brackets. These are very strong. And I can purchase them at Echo's Greenhouse of Michigan. And they one that open for order, so I can't order until then. Okay. Soil fertilizers, soil mulch, and molds. moist, I can purchase that now instead of going through that greenhouse because I know it will cost cheaper at Menards and we won't be paying for shipping on that. The plants I contacted small food greenhouse in Avenues, and I'm going to use the petunia biscuit bubble gum that they do in Minot. They're very hardy, heat, wind, they're very sturdy plants and they're beautiful. We can purchase them from the greenhouse in Avenues, and those plants are quite expensive. They'll be a little over $6 a piece. I need about 4 of them for a basket, on one basket, there's 4 in a basket, I guess. Okay, so I need approximately about 85 of them, and another 30 of those containers at the ball diamonds, the cement containers, and the city hall. And I think it would be nice if we would start out there and do something for our city. People say they drive into Surrey and there's nothing here to look at, and they are absolutely true. We'll have water, I'm gonna ask nicely if the public works guys will water them maybe 2 times a week, but this is gonna be depending upon the temperature and the rainfall that we have. So far, the cost that I would have this year would be 600, and now the prices maybe have gone up on hanging baskets and to the Emperor's Greenhouse in Michigan, because I've gone through the Minot Park District. I know Shannon knows that very well, and she is the one that designs the one stocks now and downtown. Okay, so they're about $20 a basket. They were that price in 2019, so I'm suspecting that they'll be a little higher. She didn't think much. So, flowers, Mr. Schmaltz told me that he has to go to price them individually, and that he may be a little over $6 for one time. So I just gave him a rough estimate here of $690 for flowers. I have 220 for the basket, and 195 for the fertilizer and the soil. Now, that fertilizer we can carry over into the next year. So I have a total here of $1,105, not including sales tax and the price increase. So I'm asking, what type of funding could you give us to do this? We will do the labor ourselves and plant them. We have a few other people. I think it would be really nice to try to industry and see something like this. I don't know what you guys feel like, but we need something to make this town a little better. Maybe the city hearts will be a little warmer.
I think the city has a tax exempt certificate, so you should not have to pay sales tax.
Oh,
Since it's for the city.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. I don't know who your committee is.
I've done it for the last 4 years. I don't know how to small things that we've been doing that.
No, I know you have. I know you've helped myself, and I think you did it by yourself last year. Anyways, I make a motion to transfer from general fund to, Anita, are you able to create a city beautification fund? I believe we used to have one back in the day. It was Fund 203.
Can you create a fund and make a budget?
You can transfer. Transfer $2,000 just to get you started this year.
I'm sure we can my soil and stuff like that, shop around and fertilizer.
So you move to create,
These hanging pots will last for like, Shannon told me about 2 or 3 years. The only thing that has to change the liners. We will have to take the pots down, in the fall, to store them. That should be a problem.
We have a motion on the floor.
to create a fund and transfer 2,000 from the general to the beautification.
Correct, thank you.
Second, by Mr. Dickinson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannah.
Public Works, sign on fourth and fifth, before we start. So on further review on that sound plan, we are going to contact the city engineer. Going back to southwest, this street southwest.
Where's that?
By church and.
Just go on. The stop sign.
Corey, White, Jesus, Corner.
It was-
So the stop sign by your house right there in that intersection.
Yeah, north, south, south, and then north. But right now, it's always south.
That helped with the kids being safe.
For the safety of the children though, do we even need a study done with the engineer? first?
Probably we should go to.
Yeah, do that already.
It's, 10, 0409. And also we have received our one certificate of achievement for the state water drinking. Was now. The grandfather we got, so there's some issues with it. So what I covered on warranty and it's also to replace it, parts. So we are in constant with that right now. All in warranties and also.
Where's that come from? Well, get it.
We ordered that last week's budget. The streets we currently on, according to the recommended candidates of North Water, is going to cost anywhere between $9,000 and $15,000 to fix correctly. As well as an additional $5,000 to $6,000 annual maintenance budget. So we're wondering, should we proceed with that, or we have a couple of quotes, we have a contracted to the same quotes.
What's the quote usually about? 35 and 5,000? No, I need to have someone come in and sweep everything.
The quotes we got were 3,500 and 4,500. All eight years.
Is that once a year?
Are you asking for that?
I'm asking, what should we spend money to fix it, or street sweeper appropriately, or we want to contract it out and do something else in the streets?
They need to be wet.
If you usually sweat it, that'd be enough.
Yeah. I ran into it. You have what, 2 bids?
We have two bids.
How much?
Roller and Son is 4,500. Curb to curb, which is based on Surrey here, is 3,500.
I was in Pleasant today, but
So the motion,
I'll make a motion to hire $100.
you have a second?
I'll second it.
There's a motion by Steve and second by Violet to hire Crazy Bird to sweep the streets in the city.
they must have one of the sweeper truck ones.
Any further comment?
Oh.
No, but you-
I was just gonna say, can we keep our eyes open for a, for one for sale as well?
Absolutely.
Thanks for giving me.
Should we have an advertised that? Get rid of it? Should we get $1,500 for it? Get rid of it? Those parts that change. We can.
Yeah.
Anything under or over, I'm sorry, over $2,500 needs to be placed up for bids.
You don't want, right?
We have a motion on the floor.
Steve made it in the second.
Steve?
Yep.
Mario?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Jenny?
Yes. Mr. Mayor, can I circle back to the 10.0401, authority to install traffic control devices. It does say city engineer or any person authorized by the governing body shall place and maintain traffic control signs. So I would say, this gives our public works department every right to work with our police department and, place a sign there if you see fit.
Doesn't the recommendation have to come from the chief of police, though, and not the public works?
I believe that is correct.
As long as you work together, I think we'll be fine either way.
We'll discuss the panel when we get back. And, I did have two more, one more we brought up tonight, are some systems that upgraded partially. And then YouTube had put a camera on the upgrades. My phone's here designed to plug into the computer, so you can go to YouTube. But the camera we have is not working, so you have to do the camera. Sound system set all over here. And I need 15 feet from the wall. So I can remember, I'm recommending a new camera, I'm not looking at prices yet, it's just not us tonight, for the meeting. But I'm recommending a new camera that we can get YouTube style, anywhere to film.
You price it and bring it to the next meeting, is that your plan?
I absolutely can. I know previously it was
When we approve that much. The biggest complaints I've heard is you can't hear what's going on. I don't know. I've never seen one.
But the current setup, it's difficult to get on the, at least through the sound system. Maybe the computer.
Did you say you're well under the $10,000 budget you were getting?
If memory serves, I need to double check. I don't think we spent more than 4,000. Sure. But the list system itself is under 2,000. And I don't think that was $100.
I would say since a motion's already been made to spend $10,000, once you find it, I would probably just get the approval of the mayor.
And our wonderful dump truck. Rear range seal between the engine and transmission is currently failing and we're looking at a lot of transition to our vehicles. The ways in town that's going to fix it is go to truck and farm. All parking for $100. We have to drop the transmission and replace the seal. We'll be down for a couple of days. We tried multiple places. That's one of the
You fix it.
Fall apart, right? You won't know until you get the part. But the last one we did was about 100.
If you take it in there and have a look at it, say what they found on.
Nice. It's a truck in the shop over again.
It's not on a high dollar.
They're all fixed, it is definitely how they be. It's transmission fluid and from, I can see. We need to.
I'll make a motion on bringing it in and get fixed.
Motion to get it fixed. Want to try this one? I know that's way out of line.
No, it is what it is. Yeah.
I'll second it. I'll second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion? Mr. Fennell?
Yep.
Mr. Johns?
Yes.
Mr. Ganser?
Yes.
Commissioner.
I heard Mr.
Alderman. Councilperson.
Twyla's fine.
Twyla.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson.
Yeah.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
I guess I got one last thing for Public Works. It was brought to my attention, Keith, that you wanted to use like our piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanted to use like our skid steer to unload some equipment or something? Nope. Okay, yeah, no. Is it being shipped here? Nope. Okay.
Leader, you have the floor.
Well, I do have some concern, since the office is going to be under some pressure until whatever happens, with the third leg there. There's some poor transactions that I'll admit that I was kept out of the loop on. So I don't know some direction on what you guys, what direction do you want me to go in as far as, I can learn, but I can only do what I can do at the time I'm allotted. I'm not a magic worker. I can't produce miracles.
Here's what I would recommend, and this is only because, for instance, at my place of employment, we had our major catastrophe today, and our mayor let us shut down the office for the whole week, to the public. I guess I would just say that you do what you can. If you get overwhelmed, you and Terry, I would get approval from the mayor to close the office to the public, if they can get caught up. Fridays, if you just want to be, this is just my opinion, I'm just talking. Fridays, if you want to be close to the public. Anybody say?
Just be open half days or
We're
whatever.
only open half a day on Friday.
Well, I don't know if anybody understands what it takes to actually be in an office like that. There's a lot. This is just one piece of it. You guys come for 3 hours a month, which is huge. But those pieces in there all have to work for this office or this city to actually run and maintain. There's tax transactions, quarterly reports, there's payroll for our employees. There's demands from the public. You know, people want things, people need things, people need utilities. And there's many things that I've been kept out of the loop on, and I'm just gonna admit that completely. So there's a lot of learning for even me to do, as well as our clerk of only 3 weeks. So I'm just expressing the situation that I'm gonna have in the office publicly, so that everybody here understands. And, I'm gonna do what I can do, but I need patience and time as well.
I'm supposed to do a job you don't know how to do, and you have no one coming in.
You didn't say that you didn't know how to do it, you said it's overwhelming, but,
I've had 5 years' experience on a much lower level in a town about 5 times as small as this. But how can you maintain a town of 600?
I'm defending you. I'm saying if she's never been taught how to do part of the job that you're going to expect her to do, how's she supposed to do it? Because you know what, she's gonna get blamed too, that she can't do her job.
No, I think they're doing fine right now. We've authorized overtime and we spend a lot of extra hours doing things. Neither was auditor Yongo for 5 years.
I think we're gonna.
The same project, just on a larger scale. I think they'll be able to handle this one.
So your plan is just to hire bonus?
This time, we haven't decided yet. We haven't decided yet whether we're going to be an auditor or a clerk. Either the ladies in the office will either move up and we'll hire a clerk, or if we have to, we can hire another auditor.
Expansion doesn't stop, I mean.
No, it's not.
I think there needs to be myself, that there needs to be not waiting until the next meeting, but maybe in the next week, 2 weeks. Come with a plan for us, so we can at least, either get, whatever we decide to do. You decide we're gonna hire or not, you decide, bring something to us so we can kind of get something going so we can get it. Don't you gotta advertise for 3 weeks? Something like that, or more. But come with a plan to us, I think the next week is a long week.
The next meeting is our Monday tax equalization meeting. I would say, how about we do just a briefing after the tax equalization meeting? I think that's what you're trying to say, right, Fred? So 6 o'clock tax equalization, 6:20, 6:30, regular special meeting.
You need to hire somebody. I mean, if something happens to you in the next 30 days,
I agree.
you can't just sit there with Terry and you got him in 3 weeks.
Bob sat there for a long time, not even before.
We had a lot of people that did part-time stuff after we switched gears, and I don't know how many records that vanished, disappeared, and deleted or gone.
It's just gonna take time. Right.
And then maybe in the next week, we could tell you what you need, if there's some type of help.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a written policy for when you have somebody removed, what your policy is on filling that position? You know, if the position open, you just remove somebody, you have a plan or a policy in place on how to fill that position. You can't just, well, this person that do it.
Technically, right now, though, the city administrator position was never handled properly. It was never instated properly. So-
But she's right. She's going to know about it, she works the city.
That position is also an organizational chart. I mean, that position is a legit position.
They're gonna just change.
It's not just oh, well, she's not here anymore, we're not gonna have it.
They're gonna change the organizational chart. They're gonna hire nobody.
We've only been into this less than 5 days.
Less than an hour.
Technically now.
You didn't answer my question, if you have a policy in place to fill the position.
Not that I'm aware of.
Another question.
What are you suffering between now and Monday when we discuss it? Just curious. No, I just wondered. When
You had a policy in place.
No, we just let that person go.
Or I was addressing the mayor, thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
You don't represent me, thank you.
I was just wondering, since the last time something like this happened, we hired somebody to help out, and now it's probably busy season. Sorry, Mayor, she doesn't want to.
She's gonna
We have talked in the office about whether we would hire someone, possibly a high school person or somebody who would be interested in doing all.
Well, but I mean, I'm not just talking about parks, I'm talking about the city stuff, it's all, you know, the building work, so. Give that some support in the and if you got somebody that's well skilled in other position, maybe working with Anita, that trained in more than some sort of she may have.
The bad thing is when we did that before, you know, we had someone that was put in that position, and they didn't know any part of the job. They never really did. It was kind of just somebody who answered the phone, and we basically lost.
So
But
just
if
to
we found the right person that had experience, you know, absolutely.
Or even if you're looking at it, potentially in that position, having somebody
Well, and just kind of to explain a little bit in more depth, that the park board is down pat, it took me a year and a half to get that, you're rolling off something, aren't you? That's gonna be amazing to be able to share that with Terry. I need that on the city side though. I don't have a year and a half when a month of work is gonna pile this big on my desk, so. I'm just expressing that, and I'm glad you guys can hear me, and we talk openly. Because I don't want that same blame to come down on me, why is this not getting done? Why is this happening? And if it does, then it does.
We talked about the jobs, like you say, we're doing some overtime now, and training and learning, and we're recruiting at some time, whether we need more help or where we need it.
We also need to worry about their work-life balance.
Right.
You know, they're in the office 70 hours every day, 30 hours overtime, but they're not seeing time. So you're gonna burn them out.
I mean, basically, in the last 10 years, we probably have 2 full-time and a 3 part-time, let's just call it 40, 80, 110 hours a week. And we're gonna roll that down to whatever you think we need to roll it down to.
Well, we got 40 and what, 20, 30?
We got half with no experience, but
We'll play by ear.
I mean, just bring us something on Monday, and then let's discuss it more.
The other hand, the other. So now. So I understand she's overwhelmed, so who's training her on the new stuff she needs to learn?
nobody.
So we'll be just diving in deep.
Oh, good luck, girl.
Anita, to put it into perspective though, every single thing that you're doing now is exactly what you did for the park. It's just at a
Larger
larger
scale.
level.
Yes,
It's exactly what you did for the park.
I understand
And
that,
for Granda.
but it's
Is that
just gonna
correct?
take, it's just, I'm asking for patience.
Absolutely.
And I'm trying to express to our communities that if I get requests and emails and texts and phone calls, and you know, we're bogged down with all that, and park ramps up, T-ball, and spraying weeds, and all the fun things that we had in store for us, you know, it makes me a little concerned. So I'm just expressing concern to you guys. That's all.
We had a second place person that applied for the clerk job. Ms. Bullhalter?
Lori,
Yeah, Lori. But she would be available on a daily basis. I guess I'm just waiting for Anita Jerry to decide how they want to do it.
But it's hard for them to make that decision, we don't really know what they always.
They might well love it.
Yeah, you're right.
Make a motion.
Second.
Look,